Coming up, a Long Island grocer talks about what's involved in getting his Long Island store ready for the November 1st enforcement of the new price control initiative. Also tonight, Spanish Wells taking steps to ensure that shanty towns and illegal communities are not a thing on Spanish Wells. We will talk about that in the Hot Topic segment. Welcome to the show. Beyond the Headline starts right now. The Retail Grocers Association has finally presented their counter-proposal to the government. The association sent their workable for retailers and consumers document to the government last night. The association told the government, in part, it is our primary position that we enter a temporary public-private partnership with the government through the implementation of a food assistance program for the most vulnerable among our Bahamian brothers and sisters. Well, Beyond the Headlines has been following this story since the Prime Minister's announced it during his national address earlier this month. And while we've spoken to the president of the association, the attorney and spokesperson, and others connected to this whole sort of issue, we have not had a chance to speak with an actual grocer. And so tonight we hear from the manager and operator of the Burnt Ground convenience store in Long Island, Godson Johnson. Hi, Mr. Godson. Thank you very much for joining us here on Beyond the Headline, and it's good to have you.
Good evening, Shenique. Good evening, yes. Bahamas as well.
Yeah, yes, sir, that's fine. Sir, if you can, the RGA, Retail Grocers Association, presented their modified list of food items to the government last night that they can temporarily agree to and come up, of course, present that it's under price control. Let's start there. What are some of the food items that the association agreed to and presented to the government in the document last night?
Well, some of the items that I understand the association agreed to had to deal with some needful items with respect to newborn babes or babies, baby care. They seek to get a clearer understanding of items as apart from categories. All right. And then also they wish to visit the previous items that were already listed on the price control, and they asked the government to examine those, because some of them really, in effect, refer to categories of food as apart from item of food.
Right, exactly.
And so that's what makes it difficult.
Right. So you all agreed certainly to make the baby items for the temporary period subjected to price control. You agreed to that.
Now, Shenique, I want to be careful to say "y'all" because some of us hold a position, okay? Some of us, like myself, agree with the attorney that he's taking this course to give the government an opportunity to discuss the issue. But we're not optimistic that government is going to work with what is put before them, okay? But at the same time, if this matter goes in a different direction, or let's say has to be heard in a different place, the idea was, as I understood Mr. Boswick, is to show that we have done our part to collaborate, I wouldn't even say partnership, because this is not a partnership. As I said to the other members, Shenique, collaboration. When you call me out to be your partner, remember, as Stalin once says, collaboration is not Stalin. Mussolini said collaboration is done with two on their feet, not with one on his knees. So you can't call me.
And you know what, Godson, and forgive me for cutting you off. I'm going to let you speak totally because we want to hear from you, particularly as you are a Family Island grocer, right? But that is how many of the grocers feel. Is that mainly among the Family Island ones who are in a more vulnerable position, or that's across the board many of the grocers that you're on your knees?
Well, Shenique, that was the manner in which the government approached this whole situation. They announced that they were implementing a regulation on a Friday. I personally reached out to Mr. Alcides that Saturday. And for my part, I said, Mr. Alcides, how is it that you can really convene with people in Nassau to make decisions that's going to affect more drastically us in the Family Island? Because, take for instance, Shenique, the relationship with retail grocers in Nassau is a two-way relationship, wholesaler, retailer. With us in the Family Island, the relationship is triad and almost can be a four-way relationship. That is wholesale grocer, shipper, the mailboat, and then the retailer. And then for most of us, it is transporting the goods from the dock, the transporter that is, transporting the goods from the dock to our shops. That's the next party in the transaction. Because remember, and I tried to get people to understand this, the name of this island is Long Island.
And that's for a reason, eh?
Hint. The first logistics you need to factor in with this particular Family Island is it's long. It's a 2-hour for any transaction if I have to leave from my place to go somewhere.
Wow.
So getting back to the point, we need transporters to move our goods from the dock to our location. Now, oftentimes it is the case that we have to supplement and use the boat in Clarence Town. Do you want to know how long that drive is, Shenique? You ought to know.
I don't. Please tell us.
It's 3.5 hours each way. So in this relationship that we have on the Family Island, retrieving our goods from off the dock is a 1-day to 2-day affair. Okay? So for instance,
and what is the
in the north, our
involved?
boat is... Yeah, because we have to drive that, or we have to send a transporter to Clarence Town. Now, and I try to urge people who do business in Nassau, mail boats do not, even the airlines come late. You cannot say the mailboat is coming in 9 o'clock. You can say the mailboat might come in on Thursday.
Wow. And
that's from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. that night. So time is tide, is weather, is all of these factors determine when the boat is going to reach. Also, the boat has other stops before it reaches here. And so the captain has what he considers their priorities. But back to the fact that we supplement sometimes with Clarence Town only on when it's urgent. Like when the boat coming to the north is filled for any reason or has left early.
Godson, I hate to interrupt you, but you must have pressed something about your camera because it just went out.
It went out?
Yeah. Please come back on screen.
How do I do that?
Look for your camera and just make sure that you are back on screen. I can hear you very well, so don't touch anything.
Well, I could see myself on the screen.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what's happening. The production team, if they can get you back on screen so I can see you. But listen, right now in this segment, we are speaking with a grocer, a Long Island grocer. His name is Godson Johnson from Burnt Ground Convenience Store on the island of Long Island. It's the first time we have heard from a grocer to express their point of view. A lot of them have been very, very quiet since the announcement by the Prime Minister a number of weeks ago, because they've been allowing the president of the association to speak on their behalf. And so it's good to be able to hear firsthand from this grocer what the issue is there, and particularly for Family Island grocers. It's a different game. It's a different game once they leave Nassau. And so you're hearing him talk about it. He shared with me also about it's so much you have to factor in for a Family Island grocer. And so we're going to hopefully bring him back on screen and hear from him. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, continue talking and we'll bring you back on the screen. What are some of the grocery items or categories that the association thought about and suggested to government, you must reconsider this and take this off the list?
Well, they had, for instance, chicken, a broad definition of chicken, right? If you just say chicken, you're talking whole chicken. We have chicken in any number of stores is broken down. You have whole chicken. You begin with whole chicken. You got chicken leg quarters as an item. You have chicken wings as an item. As you have boneless chicken, you have breast. Just the breast. It's a very of item. You got some chicken that's already pre-cooked in the package of chicken nuggets. So just where this chicken go here, okay? Several of the items they had like ketchup, mustard. Can we say that that's a necessity?
No, I think those are luxuries, eh?
Yeah, those are condiments, they call it.
Sorry?
Yeah, okay. Those are condiments.
Condiments, yeah, but luxuries. Like you don't necessarily need ketchup and mustard and hot sauce to eat. Speaking of hot sauce right behind on your head. But but
see, of course factor, Shenique. What government ought to have done in a proper assessment was to realize that when the wholesalers reach Porter's Key Dock, they have the boat sign off. Their responsibility is gone. Now, listen to this, the capital risk of the commodity involved lays solely on the shoulder of the retailers. And I want you to consider this. Whatever condition the goods come to Long Island in, it is then incumbent upon us to then go on a next dialogue of phone calls or emails to rectify this whole situation.
To try and get either a reimbursement or a new order.
Exactly. Thank you, Shenique. And let's consider this. If the if the wholesaler shipped me out goods that are not just the right goods, it takes me 10 days to 2 weeks to rectify that whole situation. Because remember now, I only get to know that it's the wrong item when I bring it to the shop, open the box. Okay? And that's on a Thursday or a Friday. All right? So this time, my capital, which could be anywhere from small business, but could be somewhere between $500, $600, $800, is out there in the wholesaler's hands. He has my capital for that time, and I have to wait 2 weeks before he can rectify that. But I want you to appreciate this. The wholesalers demand that we're not going to recognize your credit until we receive the items back into the warehouse.
Well,
watch this now.
Oh, yes.
Watch this. I have to now wait for the next mailboat to come, which is a week. Put that on the boat.
Wow.
It goes to Nassau, and I have to ask him to pick it up when the mailboat comes back to Nassau. And if for any reason that those items get lost, I still have to pay for it.
Wow.
But when he picks it up, which is a 2 weeks interim, then he gives me the credit, and then he sends me the right item. Consider this, Shenique. That's already 3 voyages for me to get 1 correct item, 3 set of freight. And the wholesaler is saying, I am not paying freight. Okay? I am not paying freight. Okay? So that, factor that in, Shenique.
Yeah,
that is what we retailers in Long Island have to deal with.
But it's you and every other family island, I imagine, especially the farther away from the capital. I want to ask you about earlier today. You mentioned a case of Tampico juice, I think it is, that is not good. Explain the process right there and how you are losing money for the fact that you cannot use that item, that case of Tampico juice.
Shenique, I'm appreciating you even more. You're asking just the right question. Okay, here it is, Shenique. And this is something I really want to get out to the general audience of the Bahamas and the government itself. The wholesalers of the Bahamas, though they are our best friend in this marriage, they seem for the most part, for most of them, to export all of the problems in their warehouse to the family islands. Yes, they do. The lettuce or the cabbage that are net dated to spoil, they ship that out. You know why? You know why they ship that out to us in the family island? Because they know it's difficult and we are reluctant to ship it back.
And all that turnaround. Wow.
You see the 3 weeks turnaround, the cost. Because remember now, I get to find out that these goods are faulty when it reached my shop. The mail boat has already left. So I have a case of tomatoes or half rotten onions already in the shop in Burn Ground, an hour away from the dock. The boat has already left to go back to Nassau. And I discovered that either on a Thursday, on a Friday. And he is saying, if I didn't want it, I should have shipped it back. How could I ship it back if the boat already gone? But yeah, okay. Back to the Tampico thing. They ship faulty things or soon to, how can I say?
Expire.
Soon to expire dates to the family island. Or if they're out of a, say, if they're out of a size of ketchup, okay, and we are a small convenience store. If they're out of a size of a ketchup and they only have a gallon ketchup, they send a gallon. Now, which one of my customers wants a gallon of ketchup?
You know a gallon of ketchup is not conducive to a family island community.
Exactly. So they will send that, and that will. I have some items. I have some items right in the bag there right now. Some fabric softener, gallon. I asked for 16 ounce and 24 ounce, and they sent me 2 cases of gallon fabric softener. But back to the Tampico. I understood that Aquapure or KLG was having issues with their drinks from in April.
Don't call those companies names. I don't need them to come.
Okay, sorry, I won't call it. But anyway, yes, the manufacturer was having issue with these drinks from in April. I ordered my drinks about a month ago. Customers bought it. I took home a gallon to drink for myself, and it smelled like fingernail polish. It did. I did. And it smelled like fingernail polish. So I realized I was poisoned because I began to get nausea and headaches. So I went to the clinic.
Dang.
All right. I had to be the one to call the company and say, listen, your drinks are contaminated. It's giving off a chemical odor. So what? I called the Ministry of Health, and they in turn turned me on to the Ministry of Environmental Health. I am saying this for a reason, Shenique.
Mm-hmm.
Environmental Health called me. The company that manufactured the drink wanted me to just throw it away. I say, no, but I need to let Environmental Health because I don't hear nothing coming from you warning the public. And my customers brought in the drink. They went to the clinic, and I haven't. And I'm the one, Shenique. The point I'm making is I am the one who's calling them. They're not calling me. Mr. Johnson, we're sorry about the drinks and, the disrepute that it caused your business. Contact Environmental Health. There's no warning from them to the public, to the other stores to take it off shelf.
There's no warning to this day unless I missed it.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. No warning. And the government hasn't even warned the public.
Yeah, listen.
The environmental health officer came about 2-3 days ago, and we open up new. Rather than me taking my word, we open up new cases of the substance of the drink, cracked the seal. They all gave off an odor of high chemical content. But I am saying wholesalers have a culture, Shenique, and the government talk about passing regulation. They need to regulate that. They have a culture of exporting all of their problems to the retailers in the Family Islands. Spoiled things, expired things, things that they cannot get rid of on the wholesale market in Nassau. They just dump it in the Family Island and say, y'all work it up. That time, our monies, our capital sits on the shelf and expire. We have to dump it. That is not fair to us.
That's already losses you're incurring. Well, I would like to know, in this whole sort of come by here, let's make good for several months to be able to assist with inflation, has the association made special representation to the government for the position, the vulnerable position that Family Island retailers find themselves in?
There's only the talk. There is no talk about, okay, it's going to impact us retailers. There's no talk about, okay, what can we do to help cushion what you're about to do for us? Now, on what you said, no, there has not been nothing. There has only been the echo, and I see it as a political tone. It's just a political tone that we are doing this to help the more vulnerable of our society. Well, Shenique, if you are doing it to help the more vulnerable of society, let's just say, pray one day, I am a wealthy person. If you price something to assist the vulnerable of the society, does it stop the wealthy person from buying it?
No.
Exactly. If you really want to help the more vulnerable of society, first, let's put in a mechanism that identify who those most vulnerable come to be. And I want to say something on that. Let's identify them. Then, if they are really vulnerable and cannot help themselves, let us put it directly into their hands. Because when you make me drop my prices in my store, the restaurant down the road, he's going to come and buy. His prices is not affected. If I had a markup on my item, say at 40 or 50%, he now gets the advantage of getting that same item that he uses in his restaurant at 20% or 25%, but he doesn't goes down in the food he prepares in his restaurant. He still sells his plate of food at $15 a pop. Mm-hmm. Okay? The only person who loses in this deal is the retailer. But suffice it to be, I want government to realize that what they're saying to us retail grocers, that at the end of the day, you're telling us it is not you who really come to shoulder the burden of the country. You are saying to the retail grocers, it is us. All right? And I hope the rest of the retail grocers realize that, you see that? This is who we are. At the end of the day, Shenique, please, we are teachers at our counters. We are consolers at our counters. We are nurses. What can I do for this headache? Or take a Panadol, take a Motrin. No, I don't recommend an Advil. We have kids coming to our counters who are learning how to count. They have no practical exposure on what they learn in school. Guess where they get to have the practicals? Guess where they experience the practicals? Thank you, my dear. Socially conscious people like you, sensitive. And I take my inspiration, and I take my inspiration from Leroy and Mavis Dean. You know Basil Dean, the weatherman?
Yes.
His parents. When I got in this business, I said, and I cried, I literally cried. I said, this what Bookie Dean used to go through? This what Mavis Dean used to go through? You know, but God bless. It is a service we give to the community. Okay? And it's a valuable service. And I don't regret it.
I tell you, Godson, I thank you very much for speaking with us this evening. I hope that you're open to speaking with us next week when it's officially enforced. We can check in with you again, and perhaps hopefully another grocer or two. But I thank you very much for candidly speaking to what grocers, particularly Family Island grocers, are faced with on a daily and weekly basis. And then, of course, now with this whole new price control, that's a temporary measure according to the government. But you hear what he is saying at burnt rock, burnt ground, convenience store, just really how sort of inconvenient this all is for grocers. Yeah, I give you an opportunity for a final comment.
Yeah, with all fairness, and this is a good final comment. Long Island challenges with respect to retail grocers is distinctively different from what you may meet in every different islands. Because, for instance, you will have an Abaco. They have direct access to shipment out of the U.S.
Yeah.
Same thing might be the case with Elutra. Long Island is not the case per se. Okay, you have like Inagua, which may have this molten salt boat going back and forth. But you know, I'm not putting weight on there, but I just wanted to make an awareness that every island
is different and has different needs and considerations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different needs and consideration.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I can tell you with respect to the I'm cut off right now. With respect to the Long Island retailers, you know, I just moved here about 7 years ago. Shenique, you learn your humanity right here in Long Island. We get along well. You got to get along. You got to get along. That's what you learn with my other, what I call colleagues in the market. Mm-hmm. They're not my competitors. Mm-hmm. We complement each other. If somebody's goods end up in my store that doesn't have my name, it's just as well, just as safe.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shenique. Thank you, Bahamas. Okay.
I thank you for speaking with us and for shedding light on this. I'm happy that we were able to get a family island grocer and that you were that person, because you really spoke and really painted a picture of what really exists, and really just how vulnerable you all are in terms of getting access to the goods and all, and that whole like the whole thing. And I thank you very much and hope to speak with you next week.
Yes. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you as well.
Keep up your good works.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. God bless you as well, and thank you.